Detective Alex Turner rubbed his temples, feeling the weight of exhaustion settling in. Moonlight Town had been plagued by a series of mysterious disappearances, and the usual investigative avenues had led nowhere. Frustration had become a constant companion as the cases piled up, each one more baffling than the last. His partner, Detective Sarah Martinez, walked into the dimly lit office carrying 2 steaming cups of coffee. She handed one to Alex. Her eyes couldn't hide her frustration of people vanishing at an alarming rate, yet they had no answers or clues. First, it was Elizabeth Turner, a 25-year-old artist, who had decided to take a solitary stroll along the shores of Moonlight Lake. Eyewitnesses had reported seeing her on the shores of the lake, then moments later, she wasn't there, and she was never found. Next, it was Sarah Mitchell, a 30-year-old nature enthusiast who had gone camping in the heart of the woods, seeking solitude. She set up her tent near an ancient oak tree, planning to spend the weekend immersed in nature. On the second night, campers nearby had reported strange melodic whispers echoing through the trees. When they went to check on Sarah, she wasn't there. Her tent stood undisturbed, as if she had never been there. Then, it was Davis, a 45-year-old biologist, who had gone to the woods to collect samples of a research he was conducting. He never came home, and was never found. As weeks passed by, more than 10 cases of people disappearing were reported. The environment was tense, people became fearful and suspicious of one another. The detectives were under immense pressure to break the case. As Alex and Sarah sifted through the files, a pattern emerged. All the disappearances had occurred within a radius of 8 miles. One side of this area was Moonlight Lake and next to it was the Moonlight Rainforest. The detectives wondered whether the wild animals were responsible. However, the theory was quickly dismissed because such attacks would leave visible traces. The detectives decided to have a look at the satellite images, to see if they could find any unusual activity in the forest reserve. Then, they saw something strange. They discovered that near the edge of the rainforest just next to the lake, there was what appeared to be a new settlement. A closer look revealed that the new settlement was inhabited by people of an indigenous tribe. Alex and Sarah were puzzled. In all the years they had worked in Moonlight Town, they weren't aware of any indigenous tribe that lived nearby. They decided to discreetly visit the tribe to gather more information. When they arrived at the settlement, they were shocked to see some of the clothes of the people who had been reported missing being worn by some of the tribesmen. When they thought they had seen it all, they saw the villagers suddenly gathered around ready to have a meal. To their shock, they discovered that the tribe practiced cannibalism, and there was a high likelihood that most of the people who had disappeared had ended up in that village. When Sarah and Alex went back to the station, they knew they had to act first, or else the whole of Moonlight Town would perish. Further investigations would later reveal that the indigenous tribe had been displaced from their settlement, which was miles inside the rainforest, by a corporation that wanted to mine precious minerals. Out of desperation, starvation and challenges of adapting a new settlement, the indigenous tribe had been forced to resort to cannibalism, which they rarely practiced in their former settlement. The case became a national interest, the mining activities were stopped, and the indigenous community was resettled back to their initial home. To everyone's relief, the strange disappearances in Moonlight Town stopped. Thank you for watching. Let's meet again in the next story.